Hello and welcome everybody to this new HelloID February release webinar. As normal, we're going to discuss all the new features that we released last Monday in the February release of 2024, of course. And the focus is mainly on the new functionality and not on everything else. If you have any questions, you can question them and put them in the chat. I will try to answer them in the webinar. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a webinar or any other videos that we put out there with a lot of documentation or the new release videos. Those are before we release, so you can see the new functionality before we release it. And this is more the chat after. So I guess let's begin with the presentation. So for service automation, we have a couple of new functionalities, some new features. The first new feature, I'm going to log in as a manager inside the end user portal of HelloID. And if we go to, let me put this on English, sorry. Somebody just change the language. Management, and I go to manage products. And you will see here I've got a couple of products that I'm managing. And what we change here is in the product categories, but also in, oh no, sorry, that's in management. In product categories you can search now, so I can search on dogs or things like that. And also if I go to manage users and I go to job title, I can search here now. So I can search for tester or something like that. And I can click multiple, of course. And it's also easy if, let's say, I want everything with admin in the title, I can just select all. So if you have a big list, even after searching, you can just select them all. And it will filter on all the results. We also have this option for the department, so you can also see it here. So I can search inside the department selection, and this all makes it easier. Design easy to find your users that you're managing. Also, if we go inside the product, we can do it as well. So if we open up the product, we also have the capability of the job title and department to search and categorize here. So it makes it a lot easier to find the correct users depending on your department that you're managing or something like that. Or because of a function. So that's a small improvement, but I think it's very useful to use because it helps you find your users faster. For the other new functionality, I have to go to the admin portal. So we log in as an admin. And let me go to admin portal. And as you can see here, I can go to, let's go to delegate forms first. And let's create a delegate form, create Active Directory account. AD is short for Active Directory. And let's create my new form. What we currently have is we already, if you build a form, you can assign a task of it if it's executed. So if a form is submitted, hey, you have fields and things like that. So in the case of a create an AD account, you need a username or something, a password maybe, something like that. So please pretend that I have a form with all that information there. And now I want to create my Active Directory account. So normally I would say, okay, set default script, and I will script something to create an Active Directory account, of course. But we now have also a different option, and that's our code snippet library. And if we go here to the code snippet library, you'll see all code snippets available. So let's say I want to create a user account for Active Directory. So I can search for certain snippets of code. And now let's look into this small code. If I click on it, you will see, okay, it's for Active Directory. I already saw that, of course. It's the first release, so version 1. And this is the update, so this is the last released version. Besides that, I can see the code from the code snippet. So as an example, it includes a README, so it gives me a description, what are the requirements. So in this case, I need an agent, and I need an Active Directory module installed on the server running the agent. Of course, you need an agent because Active Directory is on premise. It gives me a small description of what this code snippet does. So it creates a account created based on a form object, and here are some included properties that you can set on the account that is created. Also, we have release notes if we have different versions. So this, of course, is the first release, but if you have multiple releases, you will see the difference between those releases and the release notes. Also, there's a link to GitHub. So if I really want to see the code there, or see differences between code, or a little bit more advanced, I can go to our GitHub. And all those code snippets are inside our GitHub organization repos. And those are publicly available. So what I can do now is just simply click on copy to clipboard. I can paste it inside here, and now I have the account created. And what I can do here is set my variables from the form, as I mentioned in the README, and I can create a Active Directory account based on the form details. Of course, in some scenarios you want more actions. So you want not only create an account, but I will also want to assign a group as an example. That's also possible. So if I go to here and I say, okay, so it's something with a group, it's a grant group membership for Active Directory. I can click on here. Maybe I already know it and I don't have to read the README. I can just copy it on clipboard and just paste it here. And this means that this creates an account, and after that it grants a group membership. And of course, the group can be from the format. I can also put in some static code, of course, here. But in most cases, you have to fill in the form object. So you need to make some changes there based on your form details and data. But also I can use, say, GG group app, I don't know, Word or something, or Office. Let's say I want to give everybody Office when I create an account, something like that. That's possible. Please, you see that a comment is auto-generated. Please do not modify this, because this will help us to determine if you use the code snippet in your task, and maybe in the future we can show you if there's a new release available or something like that. So we can help you improve your management of the actions better. Actually, we don't fully support it only for the task of a delegated form, but also in the data sources. Before I'm going to show that, it's really important to know that these actions are made for delegated forms, right? So it's not shared with anything else. These particular are said, okay, these are ready for a delegated form. And some are both for a delegated form and a product, but you do have different kinds of code snippets. The other one that's added, I already mentioned it, is in data sources. So what we can do here is we can add a, what are we going to use? Delegate from a grid. Where are you? Here. You are a grid. And we're going to add, and then we can click on the data source. Set the selection on data source and get 80 users or something like that. The type is PowerShell input. I'm going to skip that for a moment, and here we have the same. So here we can say code snippet library, and we have a group search, user account search, user get attributes. Sorry, So for this one, I want to user account search. And here again, you have a README, you have the code snippet itself. In this case, a README requires an on-premise agent installed, a module installed, and it needs a user-defined variable. So it needs a variable where your OUs, where you want to search in, is provided through a variable. Again, if I want this, please read all the readmes of the code snippet, because there sometimes are requirements that you need to do something else in HelloID. But in this case, normally I would create, of course, the variable. But in this case, I just want the code snippet, so I'm going to copy it and paste it in here. Of course, if I want to go back to my default script, I can just delete this and set the default script. But this one doesn't do anything. It's just a kind of a template of a task that's created. But this way, it's pretty easy to add new functionality to data sources. In this case, get data from Active Directory, Azure, all different kind of systems. So we're going to support, of course, multiple systems. I think most of them currently are on Active Directory, Azure, and Exchange. But as I mentioned, also top desks are available, and this will grow, of course, inside the community. So we will have a lot of new data sources available, or code snippet for data sources available in the future. And of course, there will be improvements made, so there will be a different releases of that code snippet. Let me see if there are any questions about this. No, there aren't any questions. So let's jump back. So this makes everything easy to add, or easier to add, and to make more, do something more quickly, have better examples of how you can do something, and gives you structure inside a task, a data source, and for also the product task, but also the delegated forms task. So I think the code snippet is included in all those three parts where we have PowerShell available to do some stuff. So that's it for service automation. I will switch over to provisioning. So let me go to here, to provisioning, and let's go to business and go to entitlements. So our first change is in the granted entitlement screen. Probably you don't notice it, but previously when an entitlement was expected to be granted, so an action was started but it wasn't successful yet, it could fail or something like that, you will see that the line was here in the granted entitlements with expecting the entitlement. So that means it's not yet granted, but we expect it will be granted in the future. We removed that one, so now you only see the granted entitlements here. And if you want to see if anything is started as an action, you can see the actions or the history, where you can see, okay, an action has failed, or you run an evaluation where you can see, okay, an action is retried. But the granted entitlement is only the view where you see all the granted entitlements. And that makes the software a little bit more easy for us to manage, but also we had some issues here that we solved with this new solution. So important to know, also if you export it and you filter it, you don't have to filter it again on granted, because it's only granted entitlements that you see here. If you want to make a count for the licenses, that's a different story, because you don't have to filter it anymore. So that's the first change. The second change is inside target systems. And there are two different types of target systems where we make this change. So the first one is the on-premise Active Directory, and the second one is the PowerShell v2. But let me show it for the on-premise Active Directory first. So if we, now let's create a new on-premise Active Directory system. And let me type in enjoy.local connect. Okay, now it's connected. And if I go to fields, I have a new option here. So previously we added the new mapping for Active Directory, and now we bring back the import and export functionality for the mapping. And the big advantage is it will not only work for Active Directory on-premise, but also for PowerShell v2. But what I can do here is, of course, in the first step I can export this one. So I can just export it, and it will create a file which is downloaded automatically, and you can select the file with import, choose file, and let's do the same file as I just exported a second ago. And then you will see that nothing new is there because it's the same export, of course, and import, but you will get a preview available. Let me switch to a file that's a little bit different. So there are some changes here and there, and you will get a preview available for that particular file that you want to import. So you can see which are the fields that are imported. And please keep in mind that we do not remove any already existing fields definitions, but we will only override fields. So as an example, I have the user principal name is already in my mapping for my new Active Directory system, but in the imported file that I see here, there's also a user principal name. If that is the case, you will see this icon here, and it will show the text: the imported field configuration will override the existing field configuration. What does that mean? It could be that your user principal name was only configured for the create action, or it was not set up for user notification in certain actions. And what this means is we will override everything with the configured actions, the options, and the uniqueness check for the from the file that is selected as the new imported mapping. So please be aware of that. So if you already have some mapping and you have, I don't know, a complex mapping script in JavaScript, we will override it with the one that you're importing if the field is stated here. If you create a new field, and we can show you that. So let's add a field, let's say extension attribute 11, something like that. Let me say fixed value A. I will save it. So let me close this, then it should be here, extension attribute 11. Now if I'm going to import the same file that I used as before, you will not see here the extension attribute 11. But, so that means it will not be overwritten, it stays the same. So it will not be differently. If you don't see this message, the warning message, like account expires, that means is that this field is completely new. So this field isn't in your mapping before, and it will be completely new, and it will be imported. So please check if you really want to override these fields based on the mapping that you're importing. And if you do it, you can just click on import. A little heads up, you can just see easily which actions are configured in the mapping, and if it has a notification and for which actions it is configured, and also if it's exported, export to account data for the person is also configured for certain actions. The other one, which is only available for Active Directory if this field is checked for uniqueness. And what I mean with uniqueness check is not the external uniqueness check for Active Directory, but the internal one. I will show that if after I imported this one. So now I'm imported this one, and I have all the fields, and as I mentioned before, extension attribute 11 is still there. The uniqueness check, you can see it here in account, and you will see here these are the fields that are unique fields. So if I say, okay, I want to remove some account name, proxy addresses, let's remove all of these. I'm going back to my fields. I'm going to import. Let me import the same file. You will not see, of course, that there are new, because every field is overwritten because it was already imported. I import it, and again you will see on their account all the fields are back because they were inside my import mapping and the mapping that I imported. So that's pretty easy functionality. So with this you can easily do an export for a certain tenant and do an import on another one, so you don't have to do all the configuration each time. Let me see if there are any questions about this. No, there aren't any questions, so let's go back to the presentation. Another one, which is a smaller change, but could have a big impact on certain things, is that we do some statistic analyzing on the JavaScript in the mapping. So I already prepared extension attribute 11, but let's say I'm going to do not fixed, but to do complex. And I open this and make a complex mapping. So let me use the default script. And let me say I do a for A is test, something like that. Oh, let me select my person. So then you will see that this will not allow me to, or you can still save it, but it says, okay, the script contains a for key which is not allowed. Use let or consent instead. So we made some changes in this which helps you improve your scripting in the complex mapping. And it will check on a lot of different kind of things. If you do the use let or consent properly, or define a function and not use the variable a inside a function or something like that. We will check a lot of things that could go wrong. But it could be that if you open the complex mapping, you will get an error on the preview. Because the preview now is stricter than the actual running of the script. But it could be that in some cases, in some scenarios, let's say you use a switch in your mapping, that not all cases are run through your execution of the script, but the preview tries to do tries to run everything to check. So it's a little bit more stricter. And hopefully this will help you guys make better code and help you with programming the complex mapping in this case. But it could be that if you open your complex mapping, you will see an error if you run the preview, but it works fine in execution. Please still check out the message we gave, because it could be that in the future it will break if you do not change that. So hopefully this will help you create better script and make it easier for you to make a script that is really doing what you want it to do, and not have some strange behavior after half a year or something like that, or if the data is differently or something else. I think those are all the new functionalities of HelloID in this release. Let me check the questions once again. No, there aren't any new questions. Then I would like to thank you for watching this HelloID release webinar. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, so you'll never miss a new video. And of course hit the bell icon so you will get a notification, which is a lot easier when there's a new video or when we're going live with the new webinar. And hopefully I will see you at the next webinar. And thank you for watching.